The Battle of Kirksville was a battle in the American Civil War, fought in the town of Kirksville, Missouri, on August 6, 1862. The Union victory helped consolidate federal control over northeastern Missouri. Battle. Confederate Col. Joseph C. Porter had been recruiting in the Macon area, to the south of Kirksville. He had assembled a brigade of between 1,500 and 2,500 ill-trained and poorly equipped troops, but his irregulars had harried and recruited as far north as Memphis. Confederate sympathies in the Kirksville area were high, due to the Southern heritage of most of the residents. Porter had been urged to come to Kirksville by Confederate Captain Tice Kane, an Adair County farmer who claimed to be holding Kirksville with 500 fresh recruits. Union Colonel John McNeil of the 2nd Missouri Cavalry and his troops, totaling about 1,000, had been pursuing Porter for more than a week. Before noon on August 6, McNeil attacked Porter in the town of Kirksville, where the Confederates had concealed themselves in homes and stores and among the crops in the nearby fields, especially in the county courthouse and the commercial buildings on the square. Their presence was discovered by a Union detachment that volunteered to ride around the square in order to draw fire and cause the Confederates to reveal themselves, an act of courage which cost 2 Union soldiers their lives. McNeil deployed his artillery before moving in a broad line towards the town square. The subsequent cannon fire demoralized the defenders, some of whom retreated behind a rail fence west of the square. The Union troops then advanced in 2 wings, with Lt. Col. William F. Shaffer in command of the Union right wing and Major Henry Clay Caldwell of the 3rd Iowa in charge of the left. As the 2 wings met, they succeeded in driving the Confederates from the courthouse. Porter's remaining forces yielded ground and joined the others behind the rail fence. From this position, the Confederates poured heavy fire into McNeil's men, but were ultimately overwhelmed. The battle began at 11 a.m. and was over by 2 p.m. The Federals then secured the town, capturing numerous prisoners, and driving away the remaining Confederates. 3 days later, another Union force arrived and finished the work begun at Kirksville, virtually destroying Porter's command. Aftermath. According to a letter by resident J. Martin, written a week after the battle, Confederate dead numbered about 200. Union 30. McNeil's official tally was 150 Confederates killed against 6 Union deaths. 2 civilian casualties were noted. James Dye, a 60-year-old farmer with 2 sons in the Union Army, was held overnight by Porter during his approach to the town, then told to be on his way, but shot as he left. The other was Mrs. Elizabeth Cutts. Most Kirksville residents had heeded Porter's warning to depart, but Cutts was shot when 2 Confederate soldiers attempted to enter the cellar where she was hiding, and she was hit by a Union bullet meant for them as she ran out. John L. Porter, a prominent local citizen, asked for and was granted permission to treat the Confederate wounded. McNeil supplied a surgeon and instruments, the departed Porter having previously commandeered all medical equipment. The Confederate dead were deposited in several mass graves in Forest Llewellyn Cemetery. A monument now marks the spot. Some were later recovered by their families. 15 Confederates were quickly court-martialed on McNeil's orders and executed for having violated previous parole agreements not to take up arms again until exchanged. Although the execution was permissible within military norms, it was seldom done, and McNeil has been criticized for both the justice and necessity of the proceedings by John L. Porter and Joseph Mudd, among others. A number of other questionable shootings followed, including those of Dr. John Davis and Lt. Col. Frisbee McCulloch, a subordinate of Porter who was tried and sentenced to death as a bushwhacker. Even though he was captured wearing a regular Confederate uniform and carrying letters authorizing him to recruit troops, he was granted permission to give the order to fire, and his final words were, "May God forgive you for this cold-blooded murder. Aim at the heart." fire. A second volley was necessary. McNeil's reputation would be darkened further by the Palmyra massacre on October 18, but he would go on to serve 2 terms as sheriff of St. Louis County, dying June 7, 1891. Porter died February 18, 1863, of wounds received in an engagement at Hartville. The victory at Kirksville helped consolidate Union dominance in northeastern Missouri. Memorial Park commemorates the battle. Gallery. The Adair County Courthouse, used by Confederate sharpshooters during the Battle of Kirksville. Union Commander Col. John McNeil. Confederate Lt. Colonel Frisbee McCulloch, executed following the Battle of Kirksville.